Well, since everyone is here tonight,
I went to the doctor the other day, y'all know.
The Johnston house was unusually quiet. Normally, the family's home in Forsyth, Georgia, was filled with laughter, playful teasing, and the occasional clash of strong personalities. But today, an air of uncertainty hung over the house like a thick fog. Trent Johnston, the patriarch of the family, sat on the couch, his leg bouncing anxiously. His wife, Amber, was beside him, her hand resting gently on his knee. Across from them, their children, Jonah, Anna, Elizabeth, Alex, and Emma, were scattered around the living room, all trying to keep busy while stealing glances at their dad. It had been a long few weeks. Trent had been experiencing persistent headaches and occasional vision problems, something he initially brushed off as stress or exhaustion. But Amber, ever the cautious and concerned wife, pushed him to get it checked out. A routine eye exam led to a referral for an MRI, and now they were waiting for the results. "I hate waiting," Jonah muttered, tossing a football between his hands. "You and me both," Trent said with a half-smile, though his voice lacked its usual playfulness. "You'll be fine, Dad," Emma reassured him. "It's probably just migraines or something. Lots of people get those." "Yeah," Alex chimed in. "And if it was something really bad, the doctor would have called you right away, right?" Amber sighed. "Not necessarily. They like to go over the results in person. But let's not assume anything until we hear from them." Anna, who had been scrolling on her phone, looked up. "When's your appointment again?" "In an hour," Trent answered. "Dr. Hargrove said she'd go over everything with me then." Amber squeezed his knee. "We'll go together. No matter what, we'll figure it out." Trent nodded, but inside, he couldn't shake the worry gnawing at his gut. The doctor's office. The drive to the neurologist's office felt longer than usual. Trent gripped the steering wheel tightly as Amber sat beside him, her presence both comforting and nerve-wracking. "You don't have to be nervous," she said softly. "I know," Trent sighed. "But I can't help it. What if it's something serious? What if—" "Stop," Amber interrupted. "We don't do what-ifs until we know for sure." Trent exhaled sharply. She was right. He needed to focus on what was real, not on the endless possibilities that only made his anxiety worse. When they arrived, they checked in at the front desk and waited. Trent's leg bounced again, and Amber placed her hand on his to still it. After what felt like an eternity, Dr. Hargrove finally called them back. She was a kind woman in her late 50s, with a warm but serious demeanor. As they sat in her office, she pulled up Trent's MRI scans on the computer screen. "All right, Trent," she began, adjusting her glasses. "I've gone over your scans, and I have some information to share." Trent swallowed hard. "Okay." Dr. Hargrove turned the screen toward them, pointing at the images. "First of all, I want to reassure you that we didn't find any tumors or signs of a major neurological disorder." Trent let out a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. Amber did the same. "But," the doctor continued, "we did notice something. You have a condition called intracranial hypertension. Essentially, there's increased pressure in your brain, which can cause the headaches and vision problems you've been experiencing." Trent blinked. "Is that dangerous?" "It can be if left untreated," Dr. Hargrove admitted. "But we caught it early. We'll need to do some further tests to determine the cause. Sometimes it's related to weight, sometimes it's an issue with how spinal fluid drains, and other times, it just happens without a clear reason. The good news is, we have treatment options." Amber squeezed Trent's hand. "What do we do next?" Dr. Hargrove smiled reassuringly. "We'll start with medication to reduce the pressure. If that doesn't work, we'll explore other options, including a possible procedure to help drain excess fluid." Trent nodded slowly, absorbing the information. "So, this isn't life-threatening?" "Not at this stage," Dr. Hargrove assured him. "But it's important to monitor it. If untreated, it could lead to vision loss or other complications." Amber turned to Trent. "We can handle this." Trent took a deep breath and nodded. "Yeah, we can." Telling the family. Back home, the Johnston kids were waiting anxiously for news. As soon as Trent and Amber walked through the door, they were bombarded with questions. What did the doctor say? Is Dad okay? Do you need surgery? Trent held up a hand. All right. Let me sit down first. They all gathered in the living room as Trent settled onto the couch. He looked at each of his kids and took a deep breath. Good news first. I don't have anything life-threatening. No tumors, no strokes, nothing like that. A collective sigh of relief filled the room. But, Trent continued, I do have something called intracranial hypertension. It means there's too much pressure in my brain, which is causing the headaches and vision problems. Emma frowned. That sounds serious. It can be, Amber admitted. But we caught it early, and the doctor has a treatment plan. So you're gonna be okay? Jonah asked. Trent nodded. Yeah. It's gonna take some work. Maybe medication, maybe even a procedure if needed. But I'll be okay. Elizabeth, the ever-practical one, asked. What can we do to help? Trent smiled. Just keep being you. I might need to rest more, and I might have some tough days, but I'm not going anywhere. Anna crossed her arms. Good. Because we need you around to keep us in line. That made everyone laugh, breaking the tension. Alex leaned forward. Are you scared? Trent paused for a moment, then nodded honestly. A little. But I know I have all of you, and that makes it easier. Amber wrapped an arm around him. We're in this together. As the family embraced, the worry in Trent's chest finally eased. Whatever lay ahead, they would face it together, just like they always had. Epilogue. A new perspective. Over the next few weeks, Trent adjusted to his new normal. The medication helped, and though he still had some rough days, he remained determined. He focused on his health, making small changes to his lifestyle, and embraced every moment with his family. One evening, as he sat on the porch watching the sunset, Amber joined him. You doing okay? She asked. He nodded. Yeah. Better than I was. I guess sometimes it takes a scare like this to remind you what really matters. Amber smiled. And what's that? Trent looked at her, then back at the house where their kids were laughing inside. Family. Amber squeezed his hand. Always.